It's not that much bigger than that game that's going to be played in Tuscaloosa. Third Saturday in October, my Tennessee Volunteers hoping to extend to start a winning streak against Alabama tomorrow in Tuscaloosa. Haven't won there since I was 4 months old. It's been that long, folks. Tennessee, Alabama, the Vol View. A big episode of the Vol View starts right now.
Football time in Tennessee.
Is it ever? My goodness. Third Saturday in October in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, Bryant-Denny Stadium. This is a big one, folks. Okay, so for Tennessee, Alabama, you got Alabama's the 11th ranked team in America. Tennessee, I haven't worn this Vols hat in a while on this show. I love it. Got it last year. I love it. But my Vols ranked 17th in the nation. Alabama sitting there with a record of 6-1. Haven't had their bye week just yet. Tennessee had their bye week 2 weeks ago. So we are 5-1 on the season, coming off a big-time win against Texas A&M. Listen, I never thought, in the Josh Heupel era, Josh Heupel, head coach of Tennessee, I never thought in the Josh Heupel era I would see the day when in a big nationally televised home game against an excellent SEC opponent, which I believe Texas A&M to be, that it would be the defense and the special teams that won that game. Shocker, shocker, it was. Tennessee's defense is the best they've had in the brief Heupel era, the third year of the Heupel era. Pass rush is excellent. I'll get to that more in a second. Secondary, Haddon is playing excellent. Number one corner for the Vols, has been playing great football, as well as the fact that the special teams, what's his name? Kicker, I'm blanking on his name. Charles Campbell. Charles Campbell, I believe is our kicker's name, was excellent. Made all but one of his kicks the other day last week. D. Williams, and I love me some D. Williams, punt returner for Tennessee, returned one, I think it was 35, 40 yards, something like that, to the house to essentially win the game. That's punt return for a touchdown ended up being the difference, despite a lackluster offensive performance by Joe Milton and the Vols offense. Running game was pretty good, but the passing game never really found a rhythm all afternoon. So that's going to be something that's going to need to be corrected against Alabama. For the record, again, in a game featuring the 17th ranked team, the road team, and the 11th ranked team as the home team is a 9-point favorite. Now, I am old enough to remember when last year, Alabama, who was the third ranked team in the nation at the time, was somewhere around 9.5 point favorite in Knoxville. Now, as tough, Neyland Stadium is one of, if not the toughest place to play in all of college football. Ask Baker Mayfield, Big 12 quarterback. Ask Baker Mayfield how he felt playing in Neyland Stadium. It's a different animal. Playing Bryant-Denny Stadium, though, ain't no joke either. Okay, that's as difficult as there is to play in the SEC and in college football as well. Texas A&M was able to pull it off earlier this season. Texas A&M, coached by Steve Sarkisian, Quentin Ewers at quarterback. They did a great job returning most of their offensive defensive starters. Went on the road, took the ball away from Jalen Milroe multiple times. Now, Milroe has played better in the last few weeks, but Jalen Milroe, quarterback of Alabama, successor to Bryce Young, Heisman Trophy winner. Jalen Milroe made an interesting bulletin board material comment regarding Tennessee. So he was asked about the Vols defensive line. And Jalen Milroe said, and I quote, "We're going to have a lot of fun. We don't care about none of that." He said, "There's no better feeling than having that cigar at the end of the game." Now, he is correct about that. Those of you who don't know, the winner between Tennessee and Alabama, winner of the third Saturday in October rivalry game, gets a cigar. All the coaches, players, fans, everybody smokes a cigar after the game. I'm not quite sure where that tradition started. It might have started in the Bear Bryant days back in the 50s and 60s or whenever Bear Bryant coached. That's kind of when the tradition started, and it's continued to the modern day. But to me, what I think the key for this game is, and I think this is going to be in 2023 college football where you've got Washington and you've got USC, you've got Georgia, you got Michigan just going up and down the field, whether it's in the pass game, in the running game, whatever the case may be, just Ohio State, Notre Dame, just going up and down the field on teams. I think this is going to be, if you love defense, which me personally, I prefer offense far more than defense, but if you're a defensive person, man, tune in at 3:30 Eastern on CBS because this is your football game. Because Tennessee's defense, might I mention, Tennessee is third in the nation in sacks. So you got the kid Pierce come out the edge, number 27. Tyler Barron rushes the passer a lot at the linebacker spot. Got a lot of guys who can get to the quarterback. Got some good interior alignment as well. So for Tennessee, getting the quarterback's not an issue. For Alabama, protecting the quarterback has been the issue for them. They've given up 31 sacks this season, which ranks 130th out of 133 FBS football teams. So Bama cannot protect the quarterback. Tennessee gets to the quarterback. So that's a bad matchup for Alabama. Not to mention the fact as well that both offenses have been put together some lackluster performances. Alabama last week against Arkansas barely got out of there by the skin of their teeth. Tennessee last week against Texas A&M kind of got it out of there by the skin of their teeth on the likes of that defense. First of all, I'll say this before I predict the game. If you are a betting man or woman, as the segment goes, I do it every week. Going to do it when I do my NFL predictions. As the segment goes, if I were a betting man, if you're a betting man or woman, take Tennessee in the points. Vegas is saying, hey, here you go. 9 points for Alabama. Here you go. Both offenses can't score to save their lives. Both defenses are excellent. Bama's secondary scares me. I'm scared about Joe Milton making some potentially big mistakes. This, to me, is going to be the type of game. And Peyton Manning was on the Pat McAfee show recently. Peyton Manning, well, I shouldn't have to tell you Peyton Manning is. He's Peyton Manning. But he was sort of alluding to this, and I'll expand upon it. Peyton was saying, I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. I think this is going to be, who was the old broadcaster, the former broadcaster for the Clippers? I'm forgetting his name. Not to give the Clippers any love, but they did have a former broadcaster who was really good. I'm forgetting his name, but he had a rule that the first team to get to 100 points in an NBA game won. And I think the data and evidence most of the time proved that to be true. I think the first team to 20 wins this game. Whoever gets to 20, 21, whatever the case may be, whoever gets to 20 is going to win this football game. Is going to win the third Saturday in October. And when it's all said and done, given the fact that my Vols are at number one, numero uno, in the Southeastern Conference in running the football, consider the fact that we are third, not in the SEC, in the nation in sacks, and given the fact that Bama's offensive line is the fourth worst, not in the SEC, in the nation, at protecting the quarterback, at protecting Jalen Milroe and the other quarterbacks they've thrown out there this season, you know who I'm going with. Come on, well, what are we even doing here? Give me my Vols. In a little bit of an ugly game. 23-19. Take Tennessee in the points if you're betting this game. And if you're just watching this because you're a Tennessee fan or Alabama fan or college football fan and you're looking for a great matchup after the Ohio State-Penn State game is concluded, this is your game. Give me the Vols 23-19 to continue a winning streak against Alabama dating back to last season. Obviously, last year, I said after that game was my second greatest sports memory in my life. I was not able to be at Neyland Stadium when it happened, but my voice, you wouldn't know it for as much as I lost my mind during that game for 3.5, 4 hours. I have a feeling it could be more the same. So my voice is a little bit shot on Monday. Y'all know why. But listen, I think it's going to be a fantastic football game, a nail-biting game, a game in which the ball's in Jalen Milroe's hands, 2 minutes to go, maybe at 35, 40-yard line, and Tennessee's defense gets a strip sack to end it. I say Pierce gets the strip sack to end the game, and Tyler Barron recovers. Vols win, put the score back up one more time, 23-19 over the Alabama Crimson Tide. That is this week's edition of the Vol View. As you can tell, I'm fired up for this matchup. Listen, before we get out of here, I just want to say, so it's a rivalry game, obviously. It's now a rivalry official game because Tennessee finally got a win. There are Tennessee fans out there that hate Alabama more than Florida. There are Alabama fans who hate Tennessee more than Auburn, which I think Alabama-Auburn was one of the best rivalries in sports, so that actually surprises me a little bit. But just given the depth and the history of this particular rivalry. I'll say this. I hate, if we're just putting it in a box, I do hate Florida more than Alabama. I do. I don't like anything about Florida. Aside of Tim Tebow, I don't like anything about Florida. Nothing. I hate their uniforms. I hate the way their stadium's shaped. Okay, I don't like the coach, Billy Napier. Nothing I like about Florida. And I don't like alligators. Dang it, they scare me more than snakes, and I hate snakes. I do have a healthy level of respect, though, for Alabama, because I think Nick Saban is I don't think it's even a debate. He's the best coach in the history of the sport. It's not even close. With respect to Bear Bryant, to anybody else you would throw that discussion, it's Nick Saban, and it's not even close. Most national championships ever. I respect a lot of the players who went to Alabama, whether it be quarterbacks, defensive players, offensive linemen, receivers, tight ends, running backs. Respect a lot of, running back for my Steelers, Najee Harris, University of Alabama. So respect a lot of players coming out of that program. And they've obviously built the dynasty of college football. I don't think it's going to continue necessarily. I think it's Georgia's time now. But they built one of the greatest, if not the greatest dynasty in college football history for about a decade and a half. And they deserve all the love and praise in the world for that. My hate for Alabama, first of all, I think their uniforms are really, outside of Penn State, are probably one of the most plain, most boring uniforms in college football. But be that as it may, because I think the aesthetic matters. It just does. I cannot stand Alabama fans. I'm just going to be completely upfront and honest about that. I can't stand Bama fans. I've known Bama fans. Matter of fact, since last year's game, I actually know one particular Alabama fan who's, I think, spoken all of like 5 or 6 words to me since that game happened. I don't know where that person went. Just left. I haven't seen them possess. It's very, very interesting. Went looking for him after the game was over. Couldn't find him. The mutual hate between Bama's fan base, Tennessee's fan base, both I will acknowledge as a Vols fan, equally obnoxious, equally annoying. If you're another opposing fan base looking at us, I understand why you look at us and say, dang, they're obnoxious. Understand that. But it goes both ways. Tennessee, Bama. Whew, it's going to be a good one. Going to be a good one. The Rocky Top will be playing from the rooftops of Knoxville, Tennessee, and all over Vol Nation, and certainly on the show on Monday on Carving Up Live. Vols 23, Alabama Crimson Tide 19. Vols 23, Crimson Tide 19. Vols extend their winning streak, or starting winning streak against Alabama. I feel great about it. I feel like, to use the words of my man Alfred Parsar Jr., I feel 99.9% confident that it is going to happen. And that is it for this fired up edition of the Vol View. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.